Huh? There's so much some days you look at it that you would have more problem than happy times. Huh? There's so much stress and burden of every side. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, it's the same thing. What you find that we need somewhere that we can go and be quiet. Yeah? One of my quiet place is that if I'm on the farm by myself, that's a place where I find myself that relax, just talking to the plants and doing what I am doing. You understand? I sing some songs that sometimes I wonder where they come from. But that clear mind is as though and that's why Jesus said you should come apart. If they're not, even the sermon today, we hear of that. Not everywhere Jesus is able to speak to us. Do you understand that? So there's a place of quiet rest near to the heart of God. Huh? Where sin cannot molest, near to the heart of God. And so we need to understand that is not every time we need a crowd around us. Because you never can rest with the crowd around you that easy. But and if we look at Jesus' life, there are times when he were what? He went alone to a solitude or solitary place. And he would what? Talk to his father. And so he's saying, come apart, and I will what? Give you rest. How can we experience the rest that Jesus is talking about? After all, we live in a world where, after sin, the Lord said to Adam, in the sweat of your face you shall eat bread. Genesis 3:19. Thus we have known that what it is like to labor and to be carrying burdens that can seem way too hard to bear, at least by ourselves. So here it says that Jesus is saying, our God said to Adam, by the sweat of your brow he shall what? Eat bread. That is telling you that whether the sun hot, rain shine, or snow, what happened? We'll have to work. Huh? To eat bread, to maintain ourselves. And so Jesus here is saying to us that you can come apart. You can come to me. And though it says that you will have to work hard, I can ease your burden. That's true? Huh? I can take care of burden. Though you work hard, I can ease the burden for you. I am encouraging us as we study throughout this week. Let us take our burdens to the Lord and leave them right there. Let him solve them. Let him fix them. Let him take care of us. He can. He knows that your burden is heavy, but he's saying to us, his burden is light. God bless you as we continue to worship him. Elder Rob.
Pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Let me welcome us back to our Bible class this afternoon. And hope that as we share together, that we'll all be benefited. Thanks to Elder Wayne for leading us into our Sabbath PM lesson review. And we are now at our Bible class. I was somehow anticipating more individuals. Seems something picking up our frequency there, Brother Clinton. All right, so we are on to our, it's so small. All right, so we are off to a Bible class afternoon, and as I said before, that we are basically studying, or it's an adopted topic this afternoon, which speaks about the body part from hell. Now, just by looking at the topic um, part from hell. Part of the body you think would possibly be from hell, or is very devilish. The tongue. The tongue. Yeah. So James chapter 3, verses 1 to 12 will be the focus on the study this afternoon. We know that all parts of the body is very important. Am I right? And that there should be no part that we do not see as important or necessary for use. All parts of the body is of importance or necessary for use. All parts of the body is of importance. All parts of the body is of importance. Or they come inside, but we don't want them sitting out. Inside, but we don't want them sitting out. So as I was saying, that all parts of the body are of vital importance. You can't function without it. And even as you talk about the body part from hell, as unruly as this one member of the body is, you know, because sometimes you're going to take up things and you hear a voice say, don't take it up, and the hand will not take it up. Am I right? Huh? Or sometimes you think you might want to go someplace and you think within yourself and you say, I am not where we're going. So the feet won't go there. And sometimes you're looking at things that you do not want to see and you take your eye away from off it because you do not want to see it. Am I right? Isn't that the case, brethren? Right. So, but however, this one little fella here is kind of a bit dangerous. And there are some things that we always say that there are two things that cannot be changed. One, we say that the speed arrow, once you pull the thing, the bow, and you let that arrow fly, you can't direct that arrow again. Am I right? Huh? The thing, the bow, and you let that arrow fly. You can't direct that arrow again. Am I right? Huh? And the other one is spoken word. Let that arrow fly. You can't direct that arrow again. Am I right? Huh? And the other one is spoken word. Let that arrow fly. You can't direct that arrow again. Am I right? Huh? And the other one is spoken word. Let that arrow fly. You can't direct that arrow again. Am I right? Huh? And the other one is spoken word. Let that arrow fly. We have to be very careful of the things that we say because these things can have long-term effects on other individuals. Yeah, so we have to be careful what we say. So therefore, we are saying that this little member that is called the tongue, it is not an easy member to control. Are you up? No, you know, not an easy member to control. Not an easy member to control. About Winston Churchill. It's the first we're hearing about him. No, we're hearing about him. And he said that he was reportedly a master at insults and had famously difficult interactions
Shut up.
sharp-tongued Nancy Astor, the first woman MP. Lady Astor quipped, if I were your wife, I'd put arsenic in your tea. And then Churchill replied, if I were your husband, I'd surely drink it.
If I was your husband, I'll shank you at the bum.
That one is bitter. Yeah?
At the bum.
The gist of that. Because that is to say that he would rather go than to live with her. So that was more dangerous than anything else. Now, another occasion, right, she found the Prime Minister drunk in a hotel elevator. Condescendingly, she remarked, Sir Winston, you are drunk. The occasion, right, you are ugly. Tomorrow I will be sober.
What the fuck?
Condescendingly, she remarked, Sir Winston, you are drunk. The occasion, right, you are ugly. Tomorrow I will be sober.
What the fuck?
Condescendingly, she remarked, Sir Winston, you are drunk. That is. So how do we as Christians ensure that we control the tongue? Because oftentimes as Christians, we just keep on talking, and we have no end. And some people will talk, yeah, like when we used to be in primary school and tell you that is my mouth and I am free to talk. But we have to be mindful that though it is our mouth, that the things that we say out of it can be like arsenic, can be poisonous, can be dangerous. It can kill. And we know that many people even lose their lives because of what people say. Even when it doesn't go so, people get up and just say some things. And there's one thing that I have come to realize in this life is that if Brother Chris says something, even if it is not true, somebody who hearing might not spend the time to really investigate and to find out if whether what he says is true or not. So let's say that you are from Junction Station and you come up to Rosal and you hear Brother Chris with a conversation. You don't know what Brother Chris is saying is true or not. But you gone back down to Junction and you go say to somebody on Junction that Brother Chris says, you don't even call the name, but you go up a Rosal and you hear an argument say. And that argument gone across Junction and somebody is here it in Junction and they go to Mandeville with it and they leave from Mandeville to Kingston until it even reach overseas. Yeah? And there is, when Brother Chris do find out that what he's saying was not so, he is not going to find the person who was here from Junction to go tell that person from Junction that it did not go so. Not true? Huh? So the whole wrong argument gone abroad. So it is just those who are left in the immediate vicinity now knows that what you are saying was not so. So we have to be careful of arguments that we hear and how we repeat them. Because sometimes we repeat rumors and get ourselves in trouble. And that is not good. We need, James here was cautioning us. When you get the time and you can read through that chapter, let us spend some time and read that one, what James had to say about the tongue. Now, the next slide speaks about perhaps the only thing the writer here is saying I have in common with a great statesman like Winston Churchill is that I enjoy his style of biting, abusive wit. So he was very abusive. This is probably not a Christian virtue. So a Christian can't be insulted. The Bible tells us that our words must be seasoned with what? With what? Our words must be seasoned with grace. So we need to understand that if our words are to be seasoned with grace, it has to be mild when you're using them. It should not be to the point where individuals feel so hurt when you're through talking that they don't even want to exist anymore. Brother Chris.
It's before we say them, or they just impromptu fly out?
Well, most times they're not measured, because if they were measured, then we wouldn't have them. But because we just talk off the tip of our tongue, and there are some of us who say that we are like loose cannon. We just talk anything. And sometimes we say it and we say that it's a joke. But it can be very serious and fatal too. Some of these things. Exactly.
Say things that we actually don't mean. and say things the way we wouldn't want to say them, and when we can't change them afterwards.
Can't take them back.
Change them. But we don't really want to change them. It's just because of the backlash. You don't see, but your the real intention is that you want the person to know. But how the person take it now, that is where you have a problem. I am saying that some people use the tongue and they use it, look, like what Winston Churchill did with wit. Just say it. You understand? If the person don't challenge it, it is okay. If the person challenge it, then well, that's a different story.
All right. Well, but it shouldn't be that individuals should feel so hurt because of what you said in regards to certain things. So if the person feel hurt, it should be that the person is remorseful of what you said to them because of something they are doing wrong. That would be the challenge. Like in the case of our lesson review this morning, when we were studying about Nathan and David, we recognize that Nathan went to David in such a way, but when he was true, that David recognized his wrongfulness and then seek to change. But it shouldn't be that you're just going to slander somebody or you're going to slaughter somebody and then say, if you want vex of him business, but me just tell him when me have to tell him. Yeah, my mind is at peace because I tell him off properly or I tell her off properly. So I am now at peace. But we need to understand that what would Jesus have done? Would Jesus have told the person these things that you have said? So yes, it is all right to blast somebody and let them know that, look, me not take things with joke and me not easy and me rough. So next time you see me, you just avoid me because you know that I will say things that will hurt your feelings. Christ-like. Huh? No, this is not Christ-like. Well, if the person seeks to do that all the time to you, then that person needs to really go back to Calvary. Because it cannot be that you're going to have that kind of lifestyle and remain as a Christian. You can't do that. That could never be right. Well,
Christians.
Well, if you think that you're not Jesus, then I believe that you're in the wrong place. Because you can't say that you're not Jesus and yet still you want to be like Jesus. So you have to be Christ-like and your words must be seasoned with grace. They should, what the wise man Solomon said, that a word what? Fitly spoken is like what? Apples of what? Apple of gold and what? Picture of what? Silver. You can imagine what that look like, Brother Wayne. Eh? That is something, yes, that is something that you really, really want to look at. It's looking lovely. So when you place your words, when we use our words, they are supposed to be so much nice. You know, you ever hear some people talk to you and how they're talking to you, just want to sit there and daydream. You just want to stay in the person's company for the entire day just to listen to what the person is saying. But then again, some people come in as they come in, Lord, me can't bother with this somebody. Because some people tongue just loose. Yes, exactly. So you don't want to stay around such individual because there are some people, they are very, see on side are coming. They are very pessimistic. They are like, it's like they are toxic. You are around them and trust me, when they are finished, you actually be like them. Brother Chris, Sister Head has up. Very much so. Very much so. So that is what James is hinting here. And therefore, he says, in our passage today, James is on the dangers of the tongue, which we might call the body part from hell. Very deadly weapon. Very deceitful. And, you know, we look at some studies, some part here. Yes, sir.
James talk about the tongue when the mind is the seat of all thought.
All right, Stakarin wants to answer.
Devil cannot act on what is on your thought, in your thought. It's what cometh from your mouth. That's what the devil act on. So as long as it's in the mind, devil cannot do anything. But the moment you utter it, he's ready for you.
Mhm. So, yes.
Like what Brother Wayne was saying that about the brain, right?
Mhm.
In just a metaphor, it's not the gun that do the damage to the person, you know. It's the bullet. It's not the gun, it's the bullet. So basically the brain is there and the information go for the brain to the tongue and the tongue the liver. So it is the tongue.
So it's the tongue. So yeah, the tongue is very unruly. And so we have to ask Jesus to help us to tame the tongue. It's not an easy thing. But we have so much thing. They always say that before you answer, it is best to count to 10. And they say if 10 does not suffice, continue. Yeah? And if that doesn't, they say full your mouth of water. Okay, you can't talk with water anymore. So once the mouth is full, then you have to keep quiet. So I know.
And sometimes, I think I said this to Brother Wayne one day. I think some people, when they curse bad word, and they curse and get off what they have on their chest, they feel light. Because some people, no matter how you try to be gentle with them, be calm with them, to understand them, they're not understandable. And sometimes they really get on your last nerve. And sometimes if you don't tell them something, and it might not come off so calm because you're keeping it up for a while. Sometimes if you don't tell them, they don't come off your back at all. They ride you to the ground.
Yes. There's a difference about being polite and one about being disrespectful. Yeah?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like the curse of Karen head because every minute he want milk. He want milk. But what if God should say every time we're there and we ask, when we pray to God, we ask for help with the exam and this and that. What if God say, him can't bother, but we are.
Yeah, brother Chris.
So we have to, and if we want to be Christ-like, we have to think about the things that we do before we act.
Exactly. So if you are going to say that somebody get on your last nerve, yes, they will. But we often say, we always use the analogy where we say that if somebody is carrying a cup and you bump into that person, whatever is in the cup is what will spill out on the person, not true? Huh? And some people say, I'm going to tell him a piece of my mind. No, when you start to behave so unruly and dirty, a piece of your mind, you tell the person that is what is in you. So how do we equate it? We need to balance the books. As I was saying, that there's a difference between being polite and being disrespectful. So I can say something to an individual without having to be disrespectful. So you rightly said earlier, somebody said that when you're angry, that it's best you don't say anything. It's best you keep quiet. Before you said what they always say, bite the tongue. Because if you don't bite him, he will become unruly. And once he become unruly, you're going to end up saying things that you might regret. I always say to people in relationship especially, that be careful of the things you say about your spouse. Because it's that same spouse you're going to lay down back with tonight. If you don't mean it, don't say it. So I hear some people say some real mean and awful things about their spouse. And then when you're ready, you go back with the same.
Form of religion. So if you say that if we say that we are Christians, yeah, because no, we are talking about Christian, we are talking about a religion and not a denomination. If you say that you are a Christian and you can't control your tongue, there was a person in the book, Alone with God, where this man was on a train. He was not a Christian. His wife was, and his wife knew
Lady was on the train, and he was sharing the experience with his wife that if that's the way a Christian behaves, he does not want to be a Christian. Because he said from the lady came on the train, she was just talking about people's business, and she did not spend time to even share the word of God with him. No, he was saying that if she is a Christian, he does not want to be a Christian because she was displaying an attitude that is un-Christ-like. Therefore, if I am going to have to go up in the script here, so we go cuss with somebody, then I can't say that I am really testifying about Jesus, because actually I am saying this is what Jesus would do. Jesus would come in the square and cuss you out. As a Christian, and somebody start to cuss you, it's best if you just walk away and go on, because trust me, you can't go argue with the person. And there's no point at the end of the day. It's not about who is going to win. What's the point of winning the conversation? But then when you leave, your reputation is damaged in order to win the conversation. Might as well walk away. And I always say that right can never be wrong and wrong can never be right. So there's no point in arguing to say that I am right. You're going to still end up looking bad. Yes, Sister Nikia.
A question, Brother Eric.
Yes.
Is it that all the time you have to control your tongue? Suppose it's a constant thing where somebody's constantly nagging you because you are quiet and you don't try to retaliate because you're trying to rein your Christian principles in being Christ-like. And this person would not stop from doing what they're doing. And you're trying hard, but eventually you're a human being too. I was giving Sister Clover the example that once I had a supervisor who was very sucking and nagging. And And all the time I would try to be calm and deal with it and deal with it and deal with it. And one morning I had to give her the truth. And when I gave her the truth, she just went over in her class and she never come back into my class. Because sometimes how you're going to do it at the instant when you're upset, you might go say some things which are really hurtful.
Right.
But that morning when I did it, I was hurt, yes. But then when I pointed out her flaws just the same, she just had to wheel her tail and leave my classroom. So sometimes you have to wait until the right moment to hit the nail on the head. You can't just lash out every time. You have to wait until God shows you the opportunity to say what you need to say.
Well, that's why I was saying that there's a difference. Sister Karen has a point. That's why I was saying that there's a difference between there's a difference between being polite. Okay. So I am saying that there's a difference between being polite and being disrespectful. Now, I can tell you what I have to say to you respectfully, which means when I am true, you can't say that I said anything that was defamatory or something. So I don't have to go curse bad word and tell you. I don't have to go call you no names. Yeah? I can just say what I have to say. I remember one day I went into an office and I went to see the person in charge. And the secretary was there and she was behaving a certain way. And I said what I had to say to her respectfully, and I left the office. When I came back down, one of the guys that was there with me, he said, boy, Mr. Robinson, you really know how to put people in them place respectfully. That was his command, because I did not, and I went back up to the office and I did not have an argument with the secretary because I just said what I have to say respectfully. So I believe that you're out of line. I am going to tell you that you step out of line. I don't have to call in a name that you are a hooligan and you are whatever. No, I just tell you, yes, exactly that this is how you are behaving and I do not appreciate your behavior. And therefore, I wish you would stop. I don't have to stay there to argue because trust me, brethren, the arguing does not really help. And even amongst us as spouses, I will say what I have to say. And if Sister Listen wants to stay there talk, she can stay there for the rest of the day. I don't say what I have to say and I am gone. My ears become deaf. I hear you no longer. Huh? Why?
So listen to me, what I have to say too, because sometimes you leave the grudges until they become mounted grudges.
Well,
Because if you're my husband, I used to Sharon, the food never tastes good. And me say, all right, I'm gonna try to explain to you now.
right, fine.
What happened? Why the food don't taste good? But you say, I don't want to hear nothing.
No.
You're just gonna make me angry.
No, not in that
You're
way.
just gonna make me angry. If you talk already and I can't talk back to you for you to hear me, it's just gonna make me angry. So communication and the way we communicate with each other it makes a lot of difference.
know, to some people, you did my own right.
No, I don't think as adults that I should tell.
People, and they think if it don't blurt out, what you want it don't blurt out. So whether if you tap them in the street, in traffic and say you don't need to go no further with it, I'm trouble. And if you know them to finish them, I say, you did.
So that's why I'm saying, Virgin, that we need to
To me, must know how to tame the tongue.
and taming the tongue
And if a
itself.
person say, hello, you can't, don't hear some, take your chance, don't hear some. You need, no, you hear what me I say, and all of that. The tongue, our people are going out.
It
We
doesn't.
are taking kill for oneself, and not taking kill the other person.
We do not need that, Virgin. That's what I'm saying. Let's do like Jesus did. What he normally do. Once the conversation get too much for him, Jesus gone.
Take himself away.
Gone.
You take yourself away when you come back. You sit down and talk to the other people and talk to me.
I am saying,
But you don't have no attitude to talk. I
So-
mean, I have no attitude to talk.
It
Because
is-
I keep doing a curse, say I will run back.
yes, Brother Chris.
So, father there cursing me, right? Then we state the point already, say, we need to clean up the room. We come back again. Because me are not, after I'm done, you know, tell me straight up the room now. I come back again. Nasty and this and that. So I said, done now. Now I'm disrespectful. So I say, you don't state the point. And so now I'm disrespectful.
Yeah, that's exactly